Surface effect ships, the ship technology the U.S. Navy never bought into. Shown on the display case is a 1/72nd scale model of a surface effect ship that the U.S. Navy envisioned as part of its fleet of combatant ships. We will briefly explore what these ships were designed to do and how Patuxent River played a role in the design and testing of these ships. First question you might ask is, what is a surface effect ship and how does it differ from conventional Navy ships? Shown here are two of the Navy ships in today's fleet. The one on the left is an aircraft carrier, and the one on the right is a Navy destroyer. These ships were constructed similar to the ships first built by man when he first started thinking about navigating across bodies of water. These ships displace water and float on the surface of the water. They are pushed through the water with propellers and are maneuvered with rudders. Because of water's friction, these ships are relatively slow moving. Surface effect ships took the approach of moving on top of the water to move faster and be more maneuverable. In the 1960s, some ships were designed to move on a bubble or cushion of air. One could think of an analogy with the hockey air puck game that many of us played, where air was pumped up through holes in the table and the puck could slide almost without friction around the table. Two lines of surface effect ships evolved in the 1960s. One was the captured air bubble, where the ships had rigid side hulls and used seals on both ends to keep the air bubble under the ship. The other was a rigid hydrodynamic side hull with flexible end seals. A hovercraft design has flexible skirts all around the craft and rides on a bubble of air, making it possible to move across land and water. Surface effect ships that were designed were a cross between a hovercraft and a catamaran, meaning that it could ride on a cushion of air or float on its side hulls. Side hulls made the ship more maneuverable in the water. Shown on the right-hand side of the slide is a timeline of the developments of these two surface effect ship technologies. Notice in the captured air bubble timeline a ship called the XR-1. It was tested extensively at Patuxent River. Eventually, these two technologies led to the development of two 100-ton ships called the 100A and 100B. Both were tested extensively at Patuxent River in the 1970s. Shown here is a picture of the XR-1 being tested in the Chesapeake Bay. The XR-1 weighed about 17 tons and had turbine engines that propelled it through the water to test concepts such as water jet propulsion. Shown here is a photo of the captured air bubble surface effect ship 100A. The 100A had rigid side hulls the entire length of the ship and flexible planar type seals on both ends to capture the air. Turbine engines powered water jets for propulsion and lift fans to pump air into the air cushion under the ship. Ship weighed approximately 100 tons, was about 80 feet in length. This ship was designed for speeds over 80 knots and waves as high as sea state 6, which is 13 to 20 feet. It was also used as a demonstrator to fire an SM-2 missile from its deck while doing 60 knots. Shown here is a photo of the hydrodynamic side hull surface effect ship 100B with the 100A in the background. The side hulls of the 100B were partial length, and the seals on the ends were more like flexible bags seen on a hovercraft. The ship also weighed approximately 100 tons, was about 80 feet in length, and reached speeds of over 100 miles per hour. Turbine engines powered controllable pitch propellers and powered lift fans to pump air into the cushion beneath the ship. We now turn to the question of how Southern Maryland and specifically Patuxent River contributed to the surface effect ship development and testing. The Navy's surface effect ship interest grew in the 1960s, so in 1973, Congress appropriated funding to build a surface effect ship test facility, SES, at Patuxent River. When the Patuxent Naval Air Station was first constructed, the designers incorporated the 3 seaplane basins around the airbase. Although designed to test seaplanes, these sea basins were ideal for testing prototypes of surface effect ships. These seaplane basins had sinker lifts for lifting boats out of the water and ramps to launch and recover vehicles into and out of the water. Shown here are the Google Earth maps of the Patuxent Naval Air Station and the location of the West Basin, where this surface effect ship test facility was located. The 100A and B, along with other prototypes like the XR-1, were based at this test facility and conducted many test events throughout the 1970s in the Patuxent River and Chesapeake Bay. One of the departments on the base that supported the testing of the surface effect ships was the Chesapeake Test Range, today known as the Atlantic Test Range. Technicians installed instrumentation on board the ships and provided data analysis support. Returning to the model shown on the display case, the Navy was proceeding forward with building 2,000 and 3,000 ton surface effect ships. Reviewing the history, congressional testimony, and other documents, significant controversy surrounded these surface effect ships and whether they could perform the missions for which they were designed. One often wonders if it was similar to the arguments between the battleship admirals and the aircraft carrier proponents. In that case, the newer technology won out. In 1976, the Navy and Rohr Industries, the ship contractor, had completed design, verification, testing, and long lead procurement contract award for a 3,000-ton surface effect ship shown in this picture. This ship would have been approximately 270 feet in length, weighed about 3,000 tons, with a speed of over 80 knots, and had a crew up to 125. In comparison, today's guided missile destroyers weigh about 9,000 tons, so this ship was about one-third the size of today's destroyers. There would have been 4 turbine engines powering 4 water jets and 2 turbine engines powering 4 lift fans, giving an air cushion of up to 18 feet for the SES 3K ship. In the case of the surface effect ship, the program was canceled in 1980 due to a combination of factors: budget cuts, technology risk, and mission definition. Following the cancellation of the full-scale SES program, the Navy did keep a token effort going to research the technology. The Navy bought a Coast Guard surface effect ship named the Dorado and brought it to Patuxent River for research and development testing. A 50-foot plug was inserted into the midsection of the ship to lengthen it from 110 to 160 feet, creating a 200-ton ship that was named the SES 200. A new ride control system was installed to control the air pressure in the cushion. The ship was tested extensively in the Chesapeake Bay and in the Atlantic Ocean off Norfolk, Virginia. When the test facility at Patuxent River was transferred to Panama City, Florida, the ship was tested in Europe and other places beyond Patuxent River. In summary, Patuxent River had a significant role in the development and testing of surface effect ships. Very few people realize that the surface effect ships were even stationed at Pax River, since the preponderance of base activity during this time was on airplane testing. Today, the surface effect ship test facility is now under the Naval Air Warfare Center and has been renamed the Advanced Concept and Technology Transfer Facility. Surface effect ship technology has seemed to fade into history. Thank you for visiting the Patuxent River Naval Air Museum.